good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the hour of the time you'll be listening to this video. I am Ejiro Glory Uyoke, an environmental health officer practicing. I'm here to present to you a topic that says how to identify your niche in environmental health. This happens to be the day 2 of our boot camp, organized specially for environmental health officers, whether working, whether employed or unemployed, whether seeking for job or still in the four walls of learning. This video and presentation of slides is especially made for you, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. You're going to find it helpful and inciting and impactful to you. Okay, we'll not be wasting too much of our time. We'll go straight to the point. Before I comment, I want us to look at certain terminologies that we'll be coming across in the course of going along this presentation. One of them is the skill. We'll be looking at what skill is all about, your niche, your career, what profession is, and invariably we're going to be looking at the differences between career and skill. And they'll also look at professional skills that will enhance your visibility to employers in terms of job hunting and all that. And then we'll look at passion. All right, okay, so let's go straight to definition of terms. What is profession? Of course, you know, as an environmental health officer who has been trained, and then at the end of the whole training, you write the exam, you graduate with the usual school certificate. It doesn't end there. We also went further to write the council exam, which makes you a registered environmental health officer. But then that doesn't end there as well. Until you are being licensed to practice, that's when you'll be called a professional, practicing professional. But when you're not practicing, it means you're not a practicing professional, just an environmental health officer. So I've been able to come up with these terminologies for you to be able to actually identify what these things are all about and how applicable it is to you in your present state of of being in the career or of being in the profession. You'll be able to know where you belong. Okay, now take for example, there are certain activities one could engage in. Whatever you engage in and you are being licensed to do that by a regulatory body, it becomes a profession. Like as you can see on the slide, you can go through it. We say is a certain kind of activities or occupation performed by an individual who is trained and certified by the regulatory body to practice. Okay, you look, for example, let's take the accountants for example. Everybody may go into the school, into the university to study accounting, but that doesn't make you an accountant until you are being certified to practice by the regulatory body. Perhaps you're having an ICANN certificate, that's a professional certificate that makes you a professional to practice accounting. Then you can be called an accountant. So also that is applicable to our profession, environmental health. So it's hard time you start to see yourself in this perspective, and then try to, as much as possible, to really understand where you belong in the profession. Are you practicing? Are you an environmental health officer in the making, still in school studying? Or are you just an health officer? Perhaps you're not practicing, you've not been registered, you've not done your licensing, you're just an environmental health officer and it ends there. And what you do for a living is just to struggle hand to mouth, or you are out of the profession entirely, doing something different that is not related to what you've actually studied. Okay, yeah, there are people like that who are living large and living big, and they feel happy. They don't pick interest in the profession. Perhaps they never had passion in the job or in the profession in the first place, and you know there are several factors that are responsible for such. Okay, but let's come back to what we are having here. We'll talk about the various terminology that we'll be using in the course of this presentation, and then we've talked about what the profession is. We also want to look at the term professional. Who is a professional? as you have here, a professional is someone who practices a profession. So if you are practicing environmental health, you are into the field work in any of the aspects that you may be rendering your services, whether under the government or under the private sector, so long as you are practicing, you are known to be a professional of environmental health. Now, in the course of training in those days while you are in school, and for those who are still in school, I believe you've been taken through along this path as well. In the profession, we have what we call the environmental health as a whole has its various components, okay, areas of specialty, areas where we render our services, and that brings us to the career of the profession. Okay, for so many who were not opportune to work under the government parastatals or the private companies and all that, they are still job hunting. This is an area of the profession where you can leverage. Of course, the Hurricane has been able to set up the entrepreneurship aspect of the profession, where they gave room for private individual who pick interest in the profession and would want to practice even while they are not professionals. In that case, they need to be inducted, and for them to establish their company or their firm, they need a licensed environmental health officer to superhead every activities they do, and that makes such an environmental health officer the consultant of their company. You can see our place and position in the labor market. And so if you lack some of these things, it means you have no one to blame. There is room for you to explore. There is room for you to bring meaning to your life. Okay, so let's come back to what actually a career is in a broader note. Okay, a career is a lifetime chosen field of pursuit, especially within a given profession. For example, as an environmental officer, I will be relating some of these things into the profession, so you'll be able to get a clear light, a good vision of what we are talking about and how you can apply them personally to your life. That's the essence of this presentation. That's the essence of this bootcamp. That's my goal, to bring out people who are confused, who don't really understand what they actually need to do in the profession, and they are confused and frustrated why some are living below their expectation. This presentation is here for you, to enlighten you, to give you more insight of what you need to do after graduating from the 4 words of learning. And for those who have been able to identify their area of career or niche, and then they are doing 1 or 2 things in line with the profession, but yet they seek knowledge and advice on how to go about it, and how to expand, and how to bring in professionalism into their course of career or their businesses. You'll also be learning 1 or 2 tips that will also be beneficial to you. I just need you to pay attention, and then at the end of the day, you have every reason to be grateful for being part of this. Okay, and then we'll be looking also at skills. You know, for every profession, be it an occupation or any form of career that you've actually chosen to do, there are certain skills that you need to adopt, and this has to go a long way to have impact in how productive you become in the course of your dealings. Okay, and one special thing about skills is that it is something that can be influenced by your personality. Okay, skills on its own can be split into 2. Okay, we have the soft skill and the hard skill. The soft skill are skills that are naturally endowed in us. It could be influenced by our genetic inheritance, genetic factors. It could be influenced by upbringing. It could be influenced by environmental factors. These are areas where you find yourself having the ability to communicate, to express yourself, to take decisions, to make decisions. Okay, ability to ethical or moral attitude towards relating within the social environment where you find yourself. You know, these are soft skills, that those are natural or certain kind of skills that are part of you. Okay, and then the other one we talked about is I'm talking about now is the hard skill. The hard skill, these are skills you develop over time on the job. Okay, so these skills are things that are relevant and needed for you as an environmental health officer which serve as a tool for you, a guide for you to actually look into yourself. What are the areas? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? How will this strength that you have help or guide you in making your choices within the career, within the profession? Which of the career suits? Which one is aligning to your area of the area you have passion for? What skills do you have to live that passionate life you have for the career, for the profession? I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm trying to, as much as possible, to explain it in such a way that you will understand and how you can apply this knowledge into your personal life. Okay. I will be taking some of your questions at the end of the day. You can leave your question in my WhatsApp, on the WhatsApp page, on my landing page at the WhatsApp section. I'll be leaving my contact with you, and you'll be able to come up with any question that you needed clarity on. I'll be willing to render such clarity to you. Okay, I think that's that about a skill. We'll be coming back to that later. Yes, on the other slide, we're having the various type of skill which I just explained to you, the soft skill and the hard skill. We've already said that the soft skill has to do with inherent qualities, inherent futures that you inherited from parents or from the environment, that have been influenced by the environment. And then the hard skill, I told you, it's like you can see on the slide, it has to do with your ability to take decision, your marketing skills, creativity skill. These kind of skills are actually skills you learn on the job. Now tell me, as a fresher or a graduate that just graduated from the School of Health Tech, and then you're looking for a job, how can you actually get a job when you don't have a hard skill? Because most employers of labor are actually looking for those who have the skills to help them problem solve the need of the firm, of their company, to render services to clients. So if you don't have this skill, how would you work? I could remember when I graduated from the College of Health Tech, it took me 3 good years for me to even lay my hands on something meaningful, because at the end of the day, they keep asking me of job experience. So my advice to you is this: if you're still finding yourself in the 4 walls of learning, try as much as possible to avail yourself of volunteering services in certain companies, so that it will help you to build your profile, to help you build your portfolio. By the time you graduate, getting a job wouldn't be so hard or difficult. That's the essence I'm doing this. I don't want you to go through the process I went through, although there are words going through, but then there are certain delays along my path, and I wouldn't want you to experience such. Okay, aside the skill, we'll look into the professional skill, not just any kind of skill. In the profession, we have what we call the professional ethics. Okay, there are ethics, code of conduct that guides us in delivering our services. That makes you different from every other person who would just want to dive into the profession and want to render services without being a skillful, trained professional in the job. Okay, your services and there's going to be a difference, because there will be an added professionalism within your services as you provide your services to your client. That makes a difference, and that gives you an edge in seeking for job proposals and all that, getting contracts and all that. So you see how beautiful our career is. This profession is, all you need to do is just to identify your niche. The problem is that, how do you identify your niche? How do you come out and start selling yourself? We'll be looking at how you can monetize your skills, your profession, on the day 3 of this program, and how far you can go along with it, and then make your life meaningful. I hope I'm making points. I want you to go through this other slide. You can see what we have there. How do you assess yourself? In all of what we've talked about, what career path have you chosen for yourself within your profession? What qualifies you? What's your professional skill? What professional skill do you have that you know will guide you, that will help you to work efficiently in the field if you eventually get a job? Okay, and then 3, in choosing your career, what aspect of your personality do you think is more appealing to a choice of career? Because these things must be aligned. You must align both. That's the only thing that will take you far in life. You don't get bored in doing what you want to do or what you are doing, because that is where the passion lies within the profession. Like what I'm doing now. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I picked up the health education aspect of the component of environmental health, which I gained more competence. I went into the university again to study health education and also my master's, and then that gives me an edge to do what I'm doing. Okay, and then I've also worked in various companies. Like I said in our day one, I engage myself in and expose myself in several personal development and professional certification in HSC and so many, and that gives me an edge to explore other parts of the career. Okay, now another thing you have to do is, how do you want to go about it? Like me, what I'm doing is one of them. How about you? I'm using myself as a model. Look into my what I'm doing, and then see how you can also adopt your own passion to your chosen area of career, and look at the market size and the market need, and know how to go about it in exploring yourself and rendering your services. Okay, also we'll be looking at the differences between profession and career. Okay, we said on our slide it is an occupation. Profession is an occupation. It is based on education and training. It is more of service oriented and routine services, and then it has a code of conduct. But if you look at the career aspect of it, if you choose to be to render services, you are not employed, you just want to be a boss of your own, you can pick any of the components of environmental health, choose your career in it, identify your sub niche, and then you become a boss of your own. There is nothing like code of conduct or like the professional services for those who are under or those who are working under ministries and all that. You have flexibility, there is room for growth, and you can venture into any related thing that is in line with your chosen area of career. There's the room for diversity, for growth, and it's a lifetime pursuit. Okay, now the question is, how do you identify your niche? There are certain things you need to identify your niche. This has to do with self-examination. Like we said in the previous slide, assessing yourself. You need to sit down, you need to look into yourself. You need to evaluate yourself. You need to identify your weaknesses, your strengths, and then be the pilot of your business affair. Once you're able to identify your styles, your leadership styles, your skills, your passion, what you enjoy doing, what you found interesting in the profession during the course of your study, it will go a long way to know how and where and how far you would really want to go in the profession, and how you can make a meaning and a living out of life. Okay, so these are things that you really need to do. I need you to take your time after this short presentation. Go through the slide. I'm going to be sending you a PDF copy. Go through the study it very well. I will be open to your questions. I'll be open to your to whatever thing you want me to clear you off. I'll be open to it. I will be willing to assist you. If you need a one-on-one session with me, just talk to me, just DM me. I'll be willing to create an opportunity for you to help you out in your challenges. Have a nice day. Bye.